Thanks for joining us today. I'm talking with Executive Director of Loudoun Education Foundation, Danielle Nadler. Danielle, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start off. Talk to me a little bit about and explain to people who maybe don't understand what an education foundation is. Tell me what Loudoun Education Foundation is and what it does for Loudoun County Public Schools students.
Definitely. The Loudoun Education Foundation is really a connector. We connect generous individuals and businesses with the needs of students and educators within Loudoun County Public Schools.
Fantastic. So you are kind of a booster. Is that right? Like you're a booster to the public school system.
Definitely. A few examples of everything from really wraparound services or safety nets. We have a student food security program. And we help fund some student mental health programming, to also a lot of workforce development over the last few years. So asking business partners, what are your workforce needs? I know many of them want to grow their talent locally, and we have this great education system. Wouldn't it be great if we had jobs right here for students when they graduate instead of having to leave? So that's another example of we really work on asking them what do they need, and then they'll help inform the curriculum for programming that is really connecting students from the classroom into future careers.
Fantastic.
So a little bit runs the gambit of how can we make sure students are successful, both in school and then when they graduate.
So tell me a little bit about the programs that LEF offers.
So the Loudoun Education Foundation, we have a handful of programs that are proprietary to us, and then we have a couple dozen that we help fund that the school system really runs and operates and staffs, and we work on securing funding for those. But I'll share about our proprietary programs. We have scholarships both for Loudoun County Public School graduates and LCPS staff members who are continuing their education. Then we also have an Innovation in Education Grants program, which is really classroom grants. And our largest program in-house is called POUNCED, formerly known as Backpack Coalition, and that serves about 2,000 students each week and their families through meal bags and in-school pantries. So that is, I would say that's our foundational, really a program that is a lot of our focus and something we're very proud of.
Gotcha. So to kind of sum up what you said, so you have scholarships for both students and staff of LCPS, you have classroom grants, and then you have a Fueled program, which helps students who are struggling with food insecurities. Which of those three programs would you say is the biggest or the most successful, or both?
Yeah, definitely. I would say Fueled is probably one that we are most proud of just how we've been able to grow it. I've been here at the Loudoun Education Foundation about 4.5 years, and in that time, our team together, we really researched what are the best practices for student food security programs. While it used to maybe be just meal bags and dried pasta and different things, we've surveyed families. We now partner with local farms and even local other nonprofits who are food providers, including Loudoun Hungry Relief, just saying what's the best way to make sure that we're serving these families well, not just saying, well, here's calories for the weekend, but instead saying, well, culturally, what would you like to select from this school pantry? Almost like they get to shop for what their family could really use. So it's less food waste, and it provides more dignity to those families. And then, we're also really exciting that we've built that partnership up with a local farm called Bainham Family Foundation Farm, and they stock fresh produce, organic, incredible. That we got to taste a cucumber this week when we visited, and I'm like, I didn't know cucumber had flavor. How fun! So it's just the best produce you could access locally. It's so exciting that we get to stock 7 of our in-school pantries with that. And then another thing that I love about Fueled is it only happens because of community partnerships. Every week, Amazon Logistics delivers for free all of our meal bags to 40 of the Loudoun County Public Schools. So they load up 2 vans, they go, we bring them a box of donuts as a thank you, and they're off. So that has been huge. And then also each week we bring in volunteers, typically on Tuesdays, to help organize and pack the meal bags. So it's just one of those programs where it's like, if it's funding that you want to give, we can put that to use. If it's sweat equity you want to give, we can put that to use. If it's a van and you're up for delivering, we can put that to use. So I'm just thankful how many people are at the table now to make that program truly successful.
And have you, your team, you mentioned, you have 6 of you, have you grown that program since you've been there? Or, like you obviously had a foundation of it. Has this escalated to this much? I mean, I would almost say it's like, food services on steroids with how many people are jumping in and helping. So that's something that your team has grown.
Yeah, so I think so. It really was a smaller focus before. And I think as the need for meal bags and in-school pantries has grown over the years, started, one, saying, how can we keep up with this demand? We need to raise more money to help cover this expense. And as we all know, food expenses have gone up. But one of our team members was part-time, Courtney. She's incredible, and she's a super talented grant writer. So while she was helping to run Fueled as the assistant coordinator, we were able to bring her up to full time this last year. And I can't remember the stat of how much money she's brought in through grant writing, but just, again, a team member who's passionate about it, who's talented at going after grants that we qualify for, because you can throw grants out all day, but it takes a lot of research to even find out, wait, can we even apply for this? That's been a really big success. And then she and Kirslyn, the Fueled coordinator, they have really improved the process for volunteers so that it's a fun night. Even on the request form, one of the questions is, give us a song request that you want played during the pack. So we try to make it a team building. A lot of companies now come on those Tuesday pack nights because they've found it to be a kind of a team building exercise. So I would say because of that. And then one last really big piece is each of our schools here at Loudoun County has a family liaison. And we rely on those family liaisons to tell us every week. They put in their order through an app that company donated. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Put in their order with us so that we know exactly what next week's pantry requests and meal bag needs are. And then we also put in any new information. So they might put, okay, we've got 3 students with peanut allergies now. Let's nix that last order or whatever. So I think our team has worked hard to open up communication lines between the family liaison, and that has helped improve what is on the shelves in the pantries, what's in the meal bags. And then they've found that families keep coming back because it's actually meeting a need instead of like, wow, here's another meal bag and we don't eat half the stuff or whatever it might be.
Right.
But that has been huge, that open communication with the family liaisons.
Well, I think that's such forward, or innovative thinking to not only just provide food for people who need it, but to actually listen and say, what do you need? Instead of here's some more of this, here's some more of that. Like you said, calories for the week. So what sorts of, cultural foods have you guys started to increase more of to give to students and families?
Definitely. No, that's a great question. And that was really opened our eyes as we were asking the family liaisons, because each school really has a different community base that they're serving. We've found some schools will say, gosh, we want lentils and products like that. And then others, they might request rice and beans or mesa flour. We get a lot of requests for that. And even corn oil and things that, maybe another family liaison would say, no, we're good there. We don't ever get that request. Another big request that we've seen an increase in at the middle school and high schools is hygiene items.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's expensive, deodorant, pads, tampons, shampoo, conditioner. So we've really, through the way we're trying to stock those pantries is through drives. So individuals, businesses can hold a drive, almost like a food drive, but it'd be for hygiene items.
But for hygiene items. Okay.
And we found that that's really, really effective. And that's been a big request and need, because I think, as the middle schoolers needing deodorant and
Mm-hmm.
it just makes it's just nice that the student doesn't need to have an awkward conversation, or doesn't need to,
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, go grab it. It's in there,
Yeah.
So it's been really uplifting to be able to meet those requests.
So it's not just food needs, it's the hygienic side of things too, that you guys have also listened to the family liaisons and said, this is what we need. And you're providing both food and items to help them feel more, normal like other students. Like if they're going through a really hard time and they can't afford that, then their, hygiene doesn't fall.
Yeah, definitely. We really try to keep it focused on anything that might hinder their learning. We're
Mhm.
like, let's try to meet that need.
Absolutely. I think that's so important that people, that there are groups like Loudoun Education Foundation that thinks like this to help students be the most successful.
It's been really rewarding. For sure.
So 1,400 meal bags you're packing every week in your facility, and you're taking volunteers to come in, you're making it fun. Then Amazon comes in and picks those up and delivers
Yes.
them to the schools. In addition to that, you are doing pantries in 7 schools, I believe you said.
14.
14 schools. Okay, wow. So 14 schools have in-school pantries. So that's in addition to meal bags. So certain students pick up the meal bags and then others can go to the pantry. Is that how it works?
Yes, we ask at the beginning of the school year. We ask the family liaisons what would best serve your community, and then they will let us know whether they prefer a pantry or meal bags, or some have both, which is kind of
Okay.
interesting. And we'll do our best to accommodate. The meal bags are definitely logistically easier,
Mm-hmm.
but we really want to continue growing the pantries, because it's that level of, like, a white glove service, or that sounds maybe too exaggerated, but it's really that level of service and dignity that, hey,
Mm-hmm.
come in, grab what you need. So our goal is to head more toward the pantry items.
Gotcha. And is there any questions asked or any forms that the students have to fill out?
No, great question. The family liaisons, we do ask how many students they'll be serving
Mm-hmm.
each week, and a few things like that. They kind of need to raise their hand and say, yes, I will run the pantry. We need to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that someone on site is kind of the champion for it, lets us know when things are out of stock. But the students, no, the family liaisons don't ask for income levels, or don't,
Okay.
if a student or parents say there's a need, they say, all right, we'll come on in, and
Just
we'll put you on the list. And I've been
mm-hmm.
at my son's school, and I know the family liaison there, and I've seen her just kind of quietly, when the students are out at recess, just kind of sneak in, drop the bags into the backpacks that she knows which
Mm-hmm.
students. And it was really, really good to see that up close, because a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
LEF, we're not, especially with this program, we're not connecting one-on-one with the students, which I
Right.
think is smart and just fine.
Yeah.
But it's great to see how much respect the family liaisons have to, if students, I think the young guys don't notice or even care, but as they get older, they really are embarrassed. If,
Yeah.
well, why are you getting groceries at school? And
Right.
so
Right.
I loved seeing how discreet the
Mm-hmm.
liaisons are in getting that
That's a
food home.
That's amazing. Now, family liaison, is that exclusive to Loudoun County Public Schools, or is that a school division wide person? You know what I mean? Like not just Loudoun County, but like other school divisions.
Definitely. That's a good question. I think it's unique to Loudoun County.
Mm-hmm.
I have friends who are teachers in Minnesota and California, and when I've shared about the family liaisons, they're like, what a good call. Because
Yeah.
yes, some schools have social workers. Yes, some schools have counselors, but the family liaison is really that connector between the families and community resources. So it's a very specific need that they're meeting, that I think if a school does not have a family liaison, it's really left to the families to try to navigate the
Mm-hmm.
world of local nonprofits on their own.
Right.
The and the nonprofit community locally is so appreciative of
Yeah.
those family liaisons to make sure they're communicating where various needs can be met by which nonprofits.
And that seems like a really great partnership between LEF and the school division. Like that, hey, we're going to work with this. We're going to help you as much as we can, help you reach your goals to help students. So you were mentioning different ways people can help, and one of them was they can sign up to volunteer to pack meal bags, and then you mentioned drives. So you have hygiene drives and you have food drives, correct?
Yes.
Or snack
And
drives,
we,
like.
yeah, we've worked really hard to make that as simple, and we want people to say yes to holding drives. So now we have a landing page, louduneducationfoundation.org/fueled, and there's easy, you can download a flyer to hold either a hygiene drive or a snack drive. We don't do general food drives because we have a really great partnership with Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. So we can purchase things like flour and lentil beans and various things from them at an incredibly discounted price that if we
Gotcha.
hold food drives, it's like instead of you all buying it at Giant or Safeway, we'll just go to Blue Ridge Area Food Bank. But snacks and hygiene is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we do those two drives. But on that landing page, you can download a flyer that you can put on social media, put on the fridge at your office, pass out to neighbors, whatever it might be. And then there's an email address on there for our Fueled coordinator, and she'll help coordinate a pickup or drop off for any of those items. But that's been a really exciting thing because everyone from Girl Scouts to the
Mm-hmm.
local data center has held drives, and it's really helped further all of our donated dollars this year.
And because of it sounds like incredible community partnerships, it sounds like you can throw out a need and say, hey, we need these items, and they're delivered. Just like, the movie, if you build it, they will come. If you ask,
Yeah,
it will be delivered.
yes, that's how we've tried to do it. So on those flyers, we'll update it once a month. If, oh man, there's a big demand for conditioner, let's put that at the top of the list or whatever it might
Mm-hmm.
be. So that they really are specifically what we're hearing from the family liaisons and the families saying that they need. Yeah, it really has been fun to see just how creative Loudoun County is
Mm-hmm.
and how generous they are when they're clearly communicated. Here's the need. Can you help? It's really encouraging to see.
So, Danielle, you've kind of been explaining, in all of these different examples, how and why LEF's Fueled program is so successful here in Loudoun County. Give me an overall statement bringing all of these factors together that it explains how it is so successful.
I think LEF's Fueled program has been especially successful because of all the ways that we've invited partnerships, everything from Loudoun County Public Schools working so closely with their family liaisons to the business partners who can volunteer, they can donate funds certainly, and also even volunteering to deliver the bags. So I think it's been all those ways that we've reached out and then gotten that great response of a yes, we would love to partner and support this program.
Fantastic. So, you've got so many community connections, and you've mentioned that in the different programs that you've talked about, especially Fueled. Talk to me about how you grew these community connections, how you started it, like just the background of it.
Our team we're pretty high energy and we're out in the community. We're at chamber events. We're sharing with our neighbors about the impact that they can have on the local public schools. And I think that really has helped make it known in the community that if a business or if an individual wants to engage with the public schools to support students or educators, that LEF is the one-stop shop a little bit. And I'm so thankful for that because we've seen that we're not just saying donate here. We do have a donate here button on our website, but we're also talking and listening to potential donors to hear, well, how do you want to engage? What are you passionate about? What are your philanthropic goals? And a couple of recent examples, it's been really exciting. We partnered with Equinix and Microsoft recently. Each one is a little bit different, but they invited teachers to come for professional development. And with Equinix, it was teachers, guidance counselors, career center assistants and coaches. And they went to Equinix for a day we called it Teacher in Industry. So they could hear about the variety of career options for their students within the data center industry. And then Equinix provided a $800 kind of stipend or $800 check to each of those educators to then use those funds to bring the students back, or use those funds to in some way share with the students the variety of career pathways that they might want to go into. And
Wow.
Microsoft did something similar. And it's just so exciting that that idea came from us talking with the career technical and education director, Dr. Grubbs, and we share a wall here. So it's nice that we can brainstorm ways to plug in generous businesses. You know, we do want to provide field trips for students, and we do want to do that. But he's like, sometimes the most effective thing is to bring in 30 educators that then can go back to their schools and spread the word about, hey, the career landscape has changed since we were all looking to enter our
Right.
careers. Here's what I learned 2 days ago when I visited the data center. Or here's what I learned in construction, or the variety of things. So we're really looking at taking that model and working with other companies in various industries to hear what, even like healthcare, that it might not
Mm-hmm.
just be, certainly I think students know doctor's an option, but they may not know being a phlebotomist is an option, or whatever it might be, or marketing in a hospital is an option. So we're really working on doing that more of the teacher and industry program. And that is a way that has been really exciting to see the companies partner with the schools in that way.
Fantastic. I mean, that seems like such a unique aspect of what you do. And you've got the side where you're helping students with food insecurity, but then this other side as well is introducing students to careers and pathways that maybe they weren't familiar with. And that's unique as well. So talk a little bit about that side of LEF.
Certainly. I feel like, yes, we have kind of those wraparound services that it's like, okay, well, if your immediate needs aren't met, you're not going to learn a whole lot in math class today or whatever. But then on the other side of, okay, those immediate needs are met, you're in classes, you're deciding what your career pathway is. And we hear so often from the local tech communities, the skilled trade companies,
Mm-hmm.
the need for quality workforce, and especially in this area where it's so expensive. And I think because the career landscape has changed so much, even in the last 5 years, maybe 10 years, it's just really is, especially I think where we live, it's changing so quickly. We have definitely found that when we ask companies, well, how do you want to, thank you for the donation, certainly you can donate. We're excited about that. We'll put your generous funds to work. But what else? What's your biggest need? And when they say workforce, a talented workforce who's passionate about
Yeah.
our industry, and that's when it started prompting ideas of, let's get them at the table with educators so that they can talk about how to align the classroom curriculum, the classroom, even the pathways that students are
Mm-hmm.
going through, so that it ultimately does lead to an industry that is well paid and fulfilling for the students. Yeah, that's been
Absolutely.
I would say in the last 3 years, that's been
Mm-hmm.
a shift and an expansion of our focus.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the way we got there is just talking and listening both to companies, local
Mm-hmm.
businesses, and then also with school system leadership on, hey, we don't want to be a Fort Knox where
Yeah.
companies don't even know where to begin to engage. We want to be the one that, we want to have an open ear when there's feedback, when they have a vision for what they need in a
Mm-hmm.
workforce. And that ends up helping students too, because I think ultimately many want to stay in Loudoun County. But yeah, I would say LEF's role is really two things. One, that connector of, I think sometimes educators don't quite know where to begin on, they're
Mm-hmm.
in class teaching, or so they're not
Yeah.
necessarily going to the chamber breakfasts or different things that we may be at. But then also I think businesses don't quite know where to begin to connect with the schools. So I'd say a lot of times we're doing that introduction, but we're also with it, we may also include a financial ask, like the way Equinex said, hey, why don't we put on a professional development day, and then we'll send each teacher with a check that is meant for improving student workforce development.
Gotcha.
So that's a lot of times, if if it becomes a financial ask, LEF is often involved in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say our first duty is really making sure that it's not a closed door if someone from the community is knocking and wants to get engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
yeah,
kind of help connect
it's
that.
been a good fit.
That's great. That's great. So education foundations vary from school division to school division, depending on the culture of that division, the needs of that division, the needs of the students. What, I guess, kind of advice would you give to education foundations who are trying to maybe break into that community and business partnership side, or break into, some of these programs like classroom grants, or just other ways that they want to expand their services to students?
One thing I've learned having talked to education foundations in Virginia and nationally, we do a conference each year and kind of share notes, is we are very fortunate in Loudoun County to have a good working relationship with school system leadership. And that includes the superintendent, the school board. Both, we have a school board member and the superintendent serve on the LEF board of trustees. And then I also have regular check-in meetings with the assistant superintendent of teaching and learning. And all that to say, I think that open communication to hear what needs they're seeing, and then also what ideas or opportunities they see for investment. And I think one thing that's really unique is that LEF can pursue grant funding or potentially donated funds to test out a program, to pilot an idea. And they certainly don't want to test out an idea with taxpayer dollars if they can avoid it. So that's something that's really special and unique about an education foundation.
So at these conferences where you're getting to interact with other education foundation executive directors and staff members from all over the country and here in Virginia, what have you heard from other education foundations that you're like, I like that idea. I wonder if we could do that in Loudoun?
Yes, in North Carolina, there's an education foundation that partnered with local businesses and the school system to create a apartment and condo complex for teachers. And I would love to do something like that in Loudoun County. I know it would be a ton of work, and I know it's a ways off, but it is something that I would say is a long-term goal for our foundation.
Mm-hmm. That would be amazing. And just to kind of bring the teachers together, kind of help with housing. Is that kind of the idea?
Yes, definitely. I talk fairly regularly with Lisa Bolin, the head of Chief Human Resources Officer for the school system, and she always shares what needs her department has in hiring and retention. And she said her most difficult position to hire is for certified teachers in their first 3 years of education because of the cost of housing here. And she has said, gosh, if we could just have some sort of discounted housing that for 2 to 3 years, if it were possible, the idea would be on school system land. If it were possible, it really would hone in on the biggest hiring and retention need for Loudoun County Public Schools, and then which ultimately impacts students.
Absolutely. I think that's an amazing
Well,
idea
so
to
cool.
see that progress. Yeah, that'd be so cool. Okay. Final thoughts about the Loudoun Education Foundation and your mission, your goals, just any final thoughts you want to share.
I would say one thing that we're really focusing on this next year is getting the word out about Loudoun Education Foundation's programming to the school leadership and all school-based staff. My son was in kindergarten this year, and the principal there said, well, what does Loudoun Education Foundation do? And I wasn't offended, but it was more a reflection on, wow, we have to do a better job of marketing within the school district.
Mm-hmm.
Because just at his specific school, we have Fueled, the student food security program, Propel, which is an after-school STEM program that we have raised millions for, classroom grants, scholarship for teachers, several things. And that's just one of 100 schools. And I certainly didn't say it like that to the principal, but it was a reflection on, I just shared those things. He's like, no way, that's all LEF. I'm like, yeah, isn't that exciting? So I really want to do a better job of sharing our story with school-based staff so that they know, one, let us know your needs, let us know your ideas, and we can point them to those potential funding opportunities. So that's a big focus this next school year.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us about the Loudoun Education Foundation and all of the good that it's doing in Loudoun County Public Schools, and the partnerships and the advice and tips for other education foundations who are maybe looking to jump into some of these programs. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Alexis. It was great to talk to you.